Hi everyone, welcome back to the Movie Reviewers 100. My name is Scott, also known as Tesseract, and I am posting this video already into the Friday slot, which is Al's, but it's the American Thanksgiving and I've had kind of a long day, so I didn't really get around to making even the video until, 3 a.m. London time, so I apologize for that. But I wanted to wrap up Marvel Week. We have themes every week, and we started with Al, who did his video last Friday on Captain America, and then Ray did Spider-Man 2, and Ian did Thor, and we have a new guy this week. His name is James. His YouTube handle is DVD Collector 1974. He talked about Ang Lee's film The Hulk from 2003, and EJ showed off basically every single Marvel movie in his collection. I wanted to talk, of course, about Avengers Assemble, which is the UK title for the Avengers, to distinguish it from the 1998 film called The Avengers, which is an adaptation of a TV show called The Avengers, which starred Ralph Fiennes and Uma Thurman. Of course, they weren't in the TV show, they were in the movie. You get what I'm saying. But in the UK, it's called Avengers Assemble. It came out this last May. Super entertaining, written and directed by one of my favorite guys, Joss Whedon. I heard about him doing this movie 2 years before it came out. I was waiting with bated breath that entire 2 years, just could not wait to see this movie. And although it's not my favorite movie, it's very, very entertaining. I went to see it 3 times, wasn't bored for a minute. Every single moment of the movie is fun. One of the reasons why I like Joss Whedon so much is because he is very good at crafting characters and crafting conflict and doing really, really great dialogue. And I'd like to cite a specific example in this case. My favorite scene in the movie, the one that really epitomizes his style, is the scene in which the entire team, with the exception of course, the Jeremy Renner character, Hawkeye, is hanging out in the lab that's been set up for Bruce Banner and Tony Stark to look for the Tesseract, which is the energy cube from Asgard that Loki has stolen and is going to use to bring his alien army into New York City to demolish everything, to take over. So, as they are looking for the Tesseract, they're also using Tony Stark's computer savvy to break into the SHIELD files and find out what secrets they're keeping, and lo and behold, they find out that they were using the Tesseract as a potential power source for a new generation of weapons. So Captain America, Steve Rogers, he finds out about this. Stark and Banner all find out about this, and so when Fury discovers what they're doing with his computer system, he walks in the lab and says, "What do you guys think you're doing?" It says, "Well, we could ask you the same question. What exactly is this Phase 2? Captain America shows up with a rifle and he says, "This is Phase 2. It's SHIELD using the energy cube to create weapons." Sorry, the computer was moving a little slow for me. And he's got from the 1940s, and the computer was moving too slow for him. That's hilarious. Fury's like, "Rogers," I transcribed some dialogue here. "Rogers, we gathered everything related to the Tesseract. This does not mean that we're making..." Stark goes, "I'm sorry, Nick, what were you lying?" He shows him a diagram of a missile that he's just downloaded. "What were you saying? What were you lying?" That's hilarious. Steve Rogers goes, "I was wrong, Director. The world hasn't changed a bit." And then Thor and Black Widow arrive, and Banner tells her, because she's a, official SHIELD agent, not just one recruited for the Avengers, "Did you know about this?" And she's like, "Do you want to think about removing yourself from this environment, Doctor?" Now notice how she doesn't answer his question. Any decent screenwriting teacher will tell you that if you're writing a script, you have a conversation, don't have a character ask another character a question. But if you do, don't let that answer come. But if the question is answered, either make it another question or use a lie or very obvious sarcasm. Don't simply have the answer clearly stated, because that's boring. So she says, "Do you want to think about removing yourself from this environment, Doctor? Because this spear, the spear that they're studying, this weapon that Loki has actually been emanating energy that is going to turn all the guys angry and against each other, which is very, very clever." Also, I want to mention during this scene, there's a shot which travels amongst all the characters as they're fighting with each other and closes on the spear and then goes up and over it, so you're looking at all the characters fighting each other upside down. Literally, the spear is turning these guys upside down. turning them all backwards. They're not working as a team. They're turning against each other. That's what the spear is doing. That's what the effect of the spear has. Plus, because you're looking at the spear upside down, its little blade is pointing down instead of upward, and this goes right into a match cut on board the ship that's carrying Jeremy Renner and the other guys who are working for Loki towards the helicarrier. They're looking at a diagram on their screen. It's in the exact same position, and that's what they call a match cut. Very, very clever. Anyway, so they're fighting, and eventually it comes back to the conflict between Steve Rogers and Tony Stark. You know, these guys just don't like each other. Steve really doesn't like Tony because he just doesn't feel like he's, you know, the type of guy who ought to be fighting for, you know, the safety of lots of people because he's too selfish. They're talking about Banner and how he should leave and everything like that, and Banner's like, well, there's nowhere to go. We're on this big floating battleship right here. I don't know, you know, where to go. If I turn into the Hulk, we're kind of screwed. And Stark goes, why shouldn't the guy let off a little steam? And Captain America goes, you know damn well why, back off. Stark's like, oh, I'm starting to want you make me. Yeah, big man in a suit of armor. Take that off, what are you? A genius billionaire playboy philanthropist. And Rogers goes, I know guys with none of that worth 10 of you. I've seen the footage. The only thing you really fight for is yourself. You're not the guy to make the sacrifice play, to lay down on a wire and let the other guy crawl over you. Stark says, I think I would just cut the wire. Rogers goes, always a way out. You know, you may not be a threat, but you better stop pretending to be a hero. Stark's like, a hero? Like you? You're a laboratory experiment, Rogers. Everything special about you came out of a bottle. And Rogers like, put on the suit. Let's go a few rounds. And so they, you know, and then a little bit later, Fury's like, how about Black Widow? Why don't you take Dr. Banner out of this environment into? And he's like, where? You're renting my room. He's got Loki locked up in the cell that's supposed to contain Banner if he turns into the Hulk, which I don't see how it could work anyway. You know, if they've got him on board the ship, you know, he turns into the Hulk, he could be anywhere on the ship. They're not going to put him in the cube first. Before, you know, it's going to happen too fast. Banner talks about how he tried to kill himself, he tried to shoot himself, but he turned into the Hulk at the last second and spit the bullet out. And so he's you know, getting more and more worked up. He's grabbed the spear without even knowing it. And he says, you want to know my secret, Agent Romanov? You want to know how I stay calm? And everyone stops and stares, looking at him, holding this energy spear right here. They figure he's about to wig out. And Rogers goes, Dr. Banner, to put down the scepter. But before anything happens, the computer beeps and says, located the Tesseract, know exactly where it is. And everyone calms down, and Banner puts the spear down, and any ordinary screenwriter would have him say at this moment, phew, that was close, I almost turned into the Hulk. But instead he says, sorry kids, you don't get to see my party trick after all. Now that's good dialogue right there, great dialogue. And this movie's full of it. There's lots of great dialogue throughout the whole thing. People always are one-upping each other. And another thing that's really great about the way this film is written, and Joss Whedon talks about this in the director's commentary, is that he stages these battle sequences in a way that gives each of these hero characters something that they can actually fight with in a believable manner. Some of them have superpowers, some of them have special weapons, some of them are just ordinary guys that are just good at what they do. But the trick is basically to give each guy something to do, or girl as the case may be, that they can actually handle believably without overwhelming them or without making it seem like, you know, they can just, you know, walk on through and just bat guys aside with no problem. Tony's got to deal with the giant space worms. Hulk's got to deal with, you know, hordes of people shooting at him. Captain America's fighting, you know, aliens one at a time. Scarlett Johansson picks up one of the space rifles and starts shooting guys with it. Jeremy Renner, he's up on the roof of a building shooting arrows wherever he can. You know, everybody has their own skill set, and the way the battle is staged at the end there means everyone is doing their best at what they do in particular to ward off the threat. That's good writing right there. And good directing too. It's a fun movie. It's really fun. Plus, of course, the acting's really good. Love Mark Ruffalo. Tony, you know, Downey is great, you know, and the only guy I'm usually disappointed by is Chris Evans, but that's his character. His character's, you know, kind of a dullard. So yeah, Avengers Assemble. I'm sure you've seen it already, but how can I not talk about this movie for Marvel Week? I've been waiting for it forever, and finally it's here, and I can enjoy it anytime I want to, which is so great. So, new theme starting today. Big Al's going to have his review up for the week later today. So tune in for that. Welcome James, DVD Collector 1974. If you haven't subscribed to his personal channel, please do so. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.